Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, maybe. So, hi, my name is Vivian Acquah, and I'm a certified diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant and trainer. I support so many companies with their DEI strategies and initiatives as well. I know that a lot is happening in the world at the moment right now, and I just shared a post this morning about we need to fix the empathy deficit that is happening in the world all over. So if you want to have more inspiration or want to learn what I shared, please look at the post that I shared earlier today. And I also want to address the talent shortages, but because to me, it seems like so many companies are not yet realizing or are not aware of the talent shortages that is going to be worse every year from now on. So there is a huge talent shortage in Europe where so many leaders and so many companies are facing challenges by not being able to fulfill their business goals or their team goals. This is the reason why. This is, which direction do I need to point? This is the reason why. I know I've seen that on mirrors. So this is the reason why the talent shortage is there, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. So today I am excited to have this conversation with Clancy, but before I introduce him, I want to share something. So it is important to boost DEI, but oftentimes I hear so many people talking about, okay, how do I do it? How do I do it in a sustainable way? Where do I start? What do I do? And I also realize you cannot always hire me to do that, right? I come with a fee, I come with a price, I come with an investment, but I also understand that you have a budget to be mindful of. So I have created these Amplify DEI cards. One is the pink one is the self cards, which you can work on yourself, and the blue one is the corporate one, which you can work with your teams as well. So these are, let's say, reflection prompts, coaching prompts that you can use to maximize inclusion within your organization as well. And for those who know me, I talk a lot about food. And of course, I'm going to bring some flavor into this conversation. So for you, you can create your own DEI team recipe where you can use the different categories that are in the card. So, like unaware, aware, and action. But also know that each card comes with an intensity. So intensity level of mild or spicy or hot, you choose whatever card you want to use, and know that some of the cards contain a QR code that you can use which will lead you to the Amplify DEI Micro Academy. So for instance, if you want to learn more about, you picked a card regarding calling in, there is a video directing to the calling in part, calling in and calling out, so that people can learn more about the topic as well. Know that there is a special offer at the moment right now where when you buy bulk, you get also an Ask Me Anything session or maybe a keynote session. So please go to bit.ly, a capital letters or slash capital letters AMDEI cards, and it stands for end of year. So EOY 24, and then you can get the offer as well. So I just wanted to share that with you, and that's where the promo ends. And I want to bring in Clancy at the moment right now. Who is Clancy? Well, let me introduce him properly. So, Clancy, with over 20 years of proven leadership experience, Clancy brings in a strategic mindset and a track record of transforming challenges into success. His approach combines innovation and resilience, ensuring that every hurdle becomes an opportunity for growth and achievement. So, welcome, Clancy, to today's conversation. We recently met and we were having a conversation about leadership. And also, throughout that conversation, the topic came to mind like building bridges, how psychological safety enhances workplace inclusion. But before I start with that, I want to learn from you, why do we need to humanize the workplace?
Yeah, first of all, Vivian, thank you so much for having me here today.
Mm-hmm,
It's absolutely a great pleasure to have this platform, to have a chit chat with you, and of course,
mm-hmm,
to share knowledge with both parts of both parties' audience. So thank you so much for that. So
yeah.
yeah, let me dive straight into the question posed. It's very, 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 very important and very,
Mm-hmm,
very critical when it comes to humanized workplace. One could probably dive into the aspect of having a nice environment, right? But
mm-hmm,
that is not all. It's about fostering culture. where individuals feel, valued and understood and supported, right? So this
Mm-hmm.
is this is this is for me very, very important headline why the workplace needs to be humanized.
Mm-hmm.
When people feel genuinely seen as humans, not just employees, they tend to bring more of their true selves to work.
It reminds me of the quote, "Happy cows bring in more milk," right? And that's literally the
Exactly.
case, right? Even though I don't
Exactly.
want to refer to people as cows, it says something about when people are happy, when people are thriving, they bring in more of themselves or they engage more with other people. And then the workplace engagement or employee engagement goes up as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And of course, building that kind of authentic, human-centered culture isn't just a
Mm-hmm.
beneficial thing, right? It's a
Mm-hmm.
necessity. It's a necessity
Yeah.
thing that has
Yeah.
to be installed.
Yeah, definitely. So, going up to the next question, because we talked about psychological safety, and it brought this question to mind like, in what ways can psychological safety boost employee innovation and productivity? Because given the fact that, just a little FYI, I've learned from Clancy that he worked in the IT domain. And one of the things that the IT field or the technical field is known for is innovation,
Yeah.
creativity, and also with that productivity, right?
Yeah.
So, in what ways can psychological safety boost employee innovation and productivity?
Cool. So, in my own experience and over the course of 2 decades in the IT
Mm-hmm.
industry, I can firmly, clear the notion that psychological safety is the foundation for innovation and productivity. 100%,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
notion about it. But when, employees feel safe to express ideas without fear of judgment or retaliation, right? They are more likely to share new concepts and challenges that status quo. This freedom, could contribute or leads to a natural increase in problem solving and creativity. So,
Mm-hmm.
this are some of the things that I would encourage and urge, leaders to really support, to wave their energy behind it, because honestly, in a world of innovation and productivity, the foundation is a psychological safety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And it also goes to show like Amy Edmondson did a research for Google, right? Where she shared like the teams that felt psychologically safe were able to innovate better. They were able to create more tools for Google as well.
Right.
And there's so much to psychological safety. It's even the foundation before you start with DEI to make sure that
Exactly.
people are psychological safe as well. So, okay, let's bring it into the leaders, right? So, what
Yeah.
role does leadership play into
Uh,
fostering an inclusive and psychological safe
y-
workplace?
yeah. So look,
And why were you
leadership.
smiling? Because people want to know why.
Yeah, I love this particular
Yeah.
statement or the question that you've
Mhm.
just posed because look,
Mhm.
leadership plays a lot of role in various, I would say, functions in the corporate world or in the business as
Mhm.
a whole, right? But
Mhm.
leaders are set to set a tone
Yeah.
for
They
psychological
set the
safety.
temperature for the oven. Yes.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
inclusiveness, right?
Yeah.
Leaders who model vulnerability as well and respect and openness encourage those same values, throughout the team. And
Mhm.
again, these are three key, I would say, flavor to this
Mhm.
leadership set, in
Yeah.
terms of vulnerability, respect, and openness.
Mhm.
These are some of the
Yeah.
things that we need to, look into it throughout. Because
Mhm.
if you are a leader, I think this is very, 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 very necessary thing that has to come along with that, right? And of course, to create an environment where people feel safe to speak up. I always go back to this topic because it's very, very crucial point. To speak up
Mhm.
and be themselves. It's
Yeah.
about creating trust as well, right? Showing appreciation for diverse perspectives, and actively breaking down barriers.
Yeah.
It's not easy, but then leaders who prioritize this aspect, in my opinion, signal that inclusiveness and psychological safety are core to the organization. Not
Yeah.
just an empty words, because we could probably have whole lot of empty, words here and there, but we should hold that kind of these three main pillars, very, very, very important. I remember in some cases those days back, when I do have a couple of meetings with my team members, sometimes when we had a topic that is very, very emotional, I'm the first to go, and
Hmm.
it doesn't really mean that you're a weak leader, but it
Yeah.
shows how vulnerable you are in all aspect, not in all aspect per se, but they could feel, I can come over and discuss any topic with this guy, right? And
Yeah,
of course,
but it
that kind of
humanizes
respect.
people, right? When you show that,
Exactly.
it humanizes you and you're able to make a connection where which leads me to thinking you're an empathetic leader, right? So leaders who show empathy, who add that. So I want to add the word empathy to your foundation, right? I want to add that as well because we need empathy now more than ever.
So crucial, so crucial. And
Yeah.
empathy, I released a post on my LinkedIn posting, I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago, about empathy, and it's so
Mhm.
crucial as one of the foundation and pillars to it, and definitely that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So going to empathy, right? How can empathy be effectively integrated into corporate leadership practices?
Yeah, that's also a very good question. Empathy in leadership starts with genuinely understanding and respecting each individual experience, right? This can be done by making time for one-on-one conversation, which of course
Mhm.
very, very crucial as a leader to have that conversation going on with your team, and truly listening without judgment, right? Because sometimes we might probably see someone, or maybe a team member could or open his mouth and say a word, we would go straight away with a judgment on that person. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
just also very visual, right? And that is very, very clear. Leaders can also integrate empathy by regularly seeking feedback, showing that kind of flexibility in response and making decisions that consider impact on people. Because this is
Yeah.
something that I also have, I also really think it's very, very crucial, and not just the bottom line, right? This is something that we also really have to take. And in modern times, as you just you know said at the beginning of our podcast, training programs on emotional
Yeah.
intelligence, very, very crucial. In modern times, you could use the technology to have that kind of the different lens of of empathy effectively affecting or integrating empathy in the team as a whole. Yeah, so this is a very, very essential that leaders also see empathy not as a soft skills. This was very important to touch on because it's it's, it's a core part of
Yeah.
effective leadership, right?
Yeah.
Very, very
I don't
core aspect.
I don't always like that people say empathy is a soft skill because
No,
it's it's you working hard to be able to empathize with somebody else. So for those of you who don't know what empathy means, it's literally walking a mile in somebody else's shoes so that
yeah,
you support them and you know how to support them, but also understand that their challenges are different than your challenges, right? So
so true.
you being able to walk a mile in their shoes. So a little disclosure, a little bit more about me because you're only seeing a square where you don't see how tall I am. I'm 1 meter 86, right? The moment that I sit in a wheelchair, that's the moment that people think that I'm not able to talk. Whilst I had an accident last year and I broke my ankle, it was the first time that I realized that there are so many people are making assumptions thinking that because I'm sitting in a wheelchair that my mind doesn't work or that my mouth doesn't work or there's something wrong with me just because I'm sitting in a wheelchair. So I was being ignored and my partner was being addressed, right? Where you could apply empathy is ask me, can I ask you something or do you want to know more about me so that you can do a check-in.
Yeah,
Where am I on the spectrum? Are you able to have a conversation with me? And no, don't make assumption because
yeah,
I want to be able to make my own decisions, to make my own choices, right? And for you to apply empathy, that's where I want to be. But I also understand that it's sometimes often difficult for people to place themselves in somebody else, especially if you don't have that lived experience.
yeah,
So therefore, there is an opportunity that you can use by applying virtual reality in real scenarios where you are able to empathize with the person and also experience exclusion in a safe way where you are able to support your team members better. Because once you know what is invisible for you, and when you make that visible, you know that what you can do to mitigate those barriers or to mitigate those challenges as well. So I just want to address that there are ways for you to unlock empathy and for you to really realize that you can win during this talent shortage, right? Because there is a talent shortage at the moment right now. Just want to make sure that you see what I see. There is a talent shortage and it's going to get worse, and people are going to fight for more talent more ever. They're even going to offer different benefits. So if your company doesn't have the same benefits, what can you do to empathize with them and to support them in whatever way? Because this number is going to get worse next year and the years upcoming as well. So
Vivian,
yeah,
just to highlight on your talent shortage, something that is also
yeah,
very, very crucial to mention here. We've seen
hmm,
AI coming in very, very
yeah,
strongly all over the place. But we should look at it with a different lens here, in the fact
hmm,
that AI, people it's all over the place. Is going to be is taking up our job, but
yeah,
nevertheless, AI is rather fostering our mindset of really empowering into learning, right, and
yeah.
to move on, to move on to the next level. It's not a just AI going to go take my job role, so I don't have a
No,
job to
AI
do the
shouldn't
next.
be a threat.
But
It's not a
no,
threat, but it's
no,
also a way to provide training or retrain your
exactly,
people into
exactly.
applying different skills. And so many companies are not using that, and rather they're laying off people, not supporting them throughout their layoff.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
understand that the economics
yeah.
at the moment right now, it's challenging. It's challenging for many businesses.
Right,
But the way you treat people during your layoff, that's going to be a deal maker or a deal breaker.
that's true.
Yeah.
Cool.
So going back to the interview, what are
Right.
practical ways, practical strategies for leaders to enhance their active listening skills? Right, you mentioned active listening, you mentioned a few things. What can they do?
Engaging here is also very, 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 very important. As you just mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
active listening is very, very the core fundamental as well here in this particular
Mm-hmm.
question that you just posed. But also engaging,
Yeah.
asking questions like open-ended questions to dive deeper into what topic is being discussed or what topic is on the table at the moment. Also reflecting back on what is said to confirm
Mm-hmm.
understanding is another powerful, right?
Yeah.
Because reflection is like, I'm giving you back what we've just discussed for a couple of minutes ago or a while ago, but I just want to confirm or to reiterate that I have been listening to you all this
Yeah.
while. So
Yeah.
if you could reflect back on what has been discussed or confirm what has been, discussed a couple of minutes ago, that really gives signal, or that gives signal back to the fellow or to the team member that look, this guy is just really listening to me, which can say also match as words, right? Because lastly, practicing patience and resisting the
Mm.
urge of immediately jumping to solution, you know, also
Or
can have a
interrupting people like I'm doing right now, right? No,
yeah,
but on all seriousness, I
yeah,
mean, listening, being able to apply active listening, allowing the person to talk and say their story without
yeah.
interrupting. So please continue,
Right.
Clancy.
No, no, you've hit it down there, right? So, this is something that I always say. Please let me land, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, yeah.
Pl- Please let me learn. So if you are in a very top discussion with your team member, and you could hear, you could see, or feel the tempers are going very
Mhm.
high, you could really, and you want to make your case across.
Mhm. Yeah.
This is where I try. Oh, I've made you land your
Mhm.
comment or your statement. Let me land as well, because that's a way of
Yeah.
bringing in respect and building trust
Mhm.
as well. That we
Yeah.
could use to mitigate whatever the case or the solution might be on the table, right? So active
Yeah.
listening, fine, is perfect, but also reflection. We could use some kind of techniques here, minimizing distractions, as you just mentioned, but open-ended questions as well is very, very important, just to dive deep
Mhm.
into what topic is at stake at the moment. It's a very, very, very powerful tool here.
Definitely, definitely. And also, these practices don't only apply to leaders, right? I want to
No.
also address the self-leaders in this case, right? So if you're noticing a colleague hijacking a conversation while another colleague is talking, let them, tell them, let the person land so that they
Yeah.
can continue their conversation and then allow the other person to interject or share their insights as well. Yes. So another thing that is I feel like it's really important when it comes to psychological safety is cultural sensitivity, right? So, given the fact that so many companies, international companies, are hiring people from all over the world, how can cultural sensitivity be embedded in daily workplace interactions?
Yeah. So it is also another crucial point. Vivian, you are hitting me today with very, very brilliant questions here. Honestly
Yeah.
speaking, because it really reflects back again to
Mhm.
what I did or what I practiced way back then with my team to understand
Mhm.
the various cultures background that individual bring along with the team. Um, I installed what do you call it? An event where we support a charity as well. We call it the International Food Day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So every team member, it's not a must, but voluntarily, you could prepare a food of your background in terms of your nationality wise, bring it to the
Mhm.
office, and we everybody could taste it. And the proceeds were given us what they call it. Fulfilling some of the orphanage homes or child's home that are next
Mhm.
to the company. And this is a
Yeah.
very, very, very important. Leaders can promote this by encouraging employees to share their cultural backgrounds, right? And
Mhm.
fostering the environment of curiosity. Because I want to know what you guys have been. What's your favorite dish? Not
Yeah.
only dish as well, but all the cultural sentiment that comes along with it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, the
I could give you
customs, if you need to bow or if you need to shake somebody with your left hand or your right hand, right? Because
exactly.
I know that Clancy is also Ghanaian, so I can say this. I know that a person who's left-handed, when this person is going to Ghana, they will have a challenging time because Ghana is known for everything has to be right-handed. Everything has to be right-handed unless you're doing something that's not sanitary. Then
Mm.
you can use your left hand if you get what I'm saying.
Mm, yeah. So that's that. And of course, coming back again to the training on unconscious bias,
Yeah,
and cultural competence can be can,
yeah.
can help the team to to be more aware of their own assumptions, right? Daily
Definitely.
interactions, such as taking time to learn correct pronunciation of names, because
Mhm,
I've had times where people will be, and I can talk about that because I'm located in Germany, and if people will call me with Clancy, they call Clancy. You know,
mhm.
it's because of the A. Here,
Yeah,
it's like and Clancy. And if
mhm,
I'm in the UK or maybe in an anglophone speaking country, it's going to be Clancy, right? So
yeah,
it's something that is very, very important. Also, how to learn how to pronounce people's names is very, very,
yeah,
very important because some part of or some cultural part of people, they really emphasize on their name pronunciation very, very,
yeah,
very deeply
yeah,
because it
yeah,
means a lot for them as well, right? So, and of course,
mhm,
reinforcing respect again and inclusivity is a core value.
yeah.
It's a value that has to be attained or that has to be upheld, so to say.
I wanna share a tip, but I need
Right,
to look at my profile regarding name pronunciation. So I wanna share my LinkedIn page at the moment
right,
right now.
right.
Want to scan here. You see here a loudspeaker. I'm not gonna play because otherwise I'm gonna hear myself. But oftentimes when you see this loudspeaker here or this volume thing here, it means that somebody has shared their name, their pronunciation of their name. So if you don't know about LinkedIn has a name pronunciation feature where you can learn more about how you pronounce somebody else's name, or you can allow others to learn your name as well. Just an FYI so that you know how to use it and where to use it as well.
Good.
Very important. Have you
Good, good.
activated that, Clancy?
No, so this is an eye opener for me now.
Yeah,
Immediately after this, I'm gonna do that.
yeah, every time you see a volume, know that you can listen. And for those who don't have it, oftentimes when I connect with somebody and I don't know how to pronounce their names, I share this tip with them, but also ask them in a voice note, like, how do I pronounce your name? Because I don't want to step on your toes.
Yeah,
My last name has been butchered so many times that I've reached the point where it's Aqua, it's the way you say it in Italy and in France, but we have added an extra H or extra C in it. And that's it. But sometimes it's get butchers where I'm just like, okay, but I want to be respected as well. I want to be
right,
honored as well because my
right,
parents gave me this name and
right.
it's part of my legacy as well. So I want to be respected as well. Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah. During our conversation, you also talked about the importance of talking about mental health, especially now where the sun is disappearing a little bit earlier than normal, right? So,
Hmm.
how can leaders create a supportive environment for mental health conversation? Because too often, when any topic that is directed to mental health is being dismissed as weak, or this person is not being seen as a full person because they are going through challenges related to burnout or whatever that's related to mental health.
Yeah. So, look, before I get into this particular topic, I just want to make
Hmm.
myself also clear here that I'm not a mental health guru here or a certified
Hmm.
mental guru here, but as a leader, it's so
Yeah.
crucial to have an environment that support mental health,
Yeah.
and it should be normalized that conversation could go in that direction. As a leader, you should have an open door for, or open sentiment for this particular topic because it's so important. Leaders can model openness, by speaking
Hmm.
about mental health proactively. Because if something like, if you don't talk about that, you don't even make accessible for the team members to know we've got a mental department heads or a department that could support you. That's
Yeah.
also,
Or even benefits that you can use so that you can hire somebody from outside, right? So maybe your company has a
exactly.
budget for hiring a coach or support or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So this is very, very, very important. It's all these simple gestures that could really, give the team members, oh, okay, cool. I can talk about it. I can even go to my leader and to tell me
Hmm.
I need a support. He's not going to just put me in a box. Since
Yeah.
he's got to know my deficit here, or he's got to know my issue here.
Yeah.
He's not going to see it in that context, but rather he's going to say, oh, I'm getting the support that I need.
Yeah.
I'm getting given being given the access to have this support from the organizational perspective. And this is something that I would always applaud my previous company of about that. They were very, 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 very key on that point. And I was so happy that you could direct some of anybody who needed that support to that department to have that
Yeah.
kind of support. So it's an appeal, and here as well, whilst you're on this platform, please, if you are a team member or you're a leader, it's both ways. A leader should really, really make sure that he's creating an environment where this topic are going to be mentioned, even in the one-on-one meeting, or just some sort of a signalizing. Okay, we've got a mental day health today for the organization or for the whole organization indeed. Just sensitize that. And of course, as a leader in one-on-one conversation, hey, look, if is it fatigue? Sometimes you can even
Hmm.
see from a couple of things, right? You could also go in that direction and say, hey, look, this is my perspective, what I'm seeing from my lenses. We've got availability of support here. Take advantage of
Yeah.
it, right? So
Definitely.
ultimately, it's about removing any stigma and making it clear that seeking support is a strength, not a weakness.
No, and last week I had a conversation with Mary Jane, previous conversation, and we talked about these figures, right? This is a recent study from Business Solver State of the Workplace Empathy,
Mhm.
where they talk about 81% of the CEOs see someone with a mental health issue as weak or a burden. and also the employees, right? That percentages is really shocking. So we need to do better. We need to do better because
mm,
it's not only like Clancy's saying, like it's not only the individuals who are experiencing mental health challenges, but also the CEOs and also HR professionals, right? It's from the same report as well, just new, where different people are experiencing different challenges as well. So we need to be able to apply empathy or amplify empathy in a huge way because we need all the people. I shared the talent shortages that is coming or that is present currently within Europe. And it's going to get worse if we don't take care and don't support those who are dealing with a mental health issue, don't show empathy or don't show any compassion because we need all the people in the workforce
yeah,
right now.
that's true. Yep. Yep.
Okay, going back to a next question, and that is, what are the signs that a workplace might lack psychological safety and inclusiveness?
So there are multiple signs here that a
Mm-hmm.
leader can easily see, or individual colleagues can see, and this is also very important. If a colleague notify something among his colleague, please don't feel shy. That you need to talk to your leader about it. It's not about
Yeah.
your personal. It's also very very important because leaders,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have the eyes on the floor every
Mm-hmm.
single minute or every single hour. We are not micromanaging, right? So if you have a colleague and you are feeling that he's going through some sort of thing, please, it's very, very, very important to emphasize, or you know, but also going back to your question, um, there are several signs. You could see some sort of, low engagement in the
Mm-hmm.
meeting. You can see some sort of employee turnover as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could also see some sort of mistakes being held back. Ideas, or yeah, all these kind of things are psychological signs that you could really sense. And I mentioned fatigue is also very 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 important thing that you could
Mm-hmm.
really easily notify or notice from your team. And this is something that you should have an eye on it as a leader, and of course have an oversight of it. And this could lead to microaggressions as well, right?
Yeah.
Lack of inclusiveness could often could often lead to microaggressions here,
Yeah.
overrepresentation of certain voices in decision making. Because if you are not in a good mood, and maybe you're in a collective meeting, anything that will be echoed out in that meeting, you might have it forcefully translated in your own environment that you think,
Mm-hmm.
oh gosh, you're finding yourself in.
Yeah.
Um, this is a sign for a leader as well after the meeting, probably to talk to call that person and have a one-on-one discussion and say, hey, look, this is my reference I've seen. If it's not been seen from that lenses, it's fine. But this is very important that you echo from your lenses point of view, right? And of
Mm-hmm.
course, leaders should all be attuned to these signs and be willing to address them, right? Openly. It shouldn't be kept under
Yeah,
the
and
carpet.
also when you see the team being stressed or under a lot of working with a high workload, right?
Mm,
We need to be very careful about how we place the workload upon the people that are still there because otherwise it will trickle down to them. They'll call in sick or
yeah.
they might leave the company and go elsewhere because elsewhere they do have benefits. They do take better care of mental health. They do have budgets regarding mental health side, right? People are now checking a lot of sites like Indeed, LinkedIn, which
Mhm,
I'm not affiliated, by the way. I'm just dropping a
mm,
few names. But know that there are different platforms where people are sharing. Even the younger generation are now using TikTok where they share the discontentment about the companies as well. And you don't want to be a TikTok meme.
mm.
Your company doesn't want to be a TikTok meme as well.
And just one more point, based on my
Hmm.
personal experience as well. I'm in the tech industry, and I've been managing the or head of the sales team, and getting to the end of the quarter, it's a
Yeah,
massive pressure to really
yeah,
get over the cross line, right? And so I
yeah.
could see, and I was one day with my team, and I was just dashing in our numbers. We need to do what is missing here. I just after the meeting, I drop back and look at my team. I could see how they're really pushing all the strings to get over the line. What I
Hmm.
did instantly, I asked them all, we are going for a walk. And we all went for
Mm,
a walk. We just
yeah,
stopped whatever we are doing and went
yeah,
for a walk. and we had some ice cream as well, and the weather was perfect. And this is something
Yeah.
that I always, it's my leadership style. I always
Mhm.
be very close, to look at a couple of things that is happening on the floor,
Mhm.
and react accordingly. So we went for a walk, we had some ice creams, we came back, everybody was starting to
You were
energize.
refreshed. Now a lot of people are going to reach out for you saying like, "We want ice cream as well."
And it's not cold. It's not ice cream time. Well, you can go for hiking. That's one of my favorite hobbies as well. But this is an experience, my personal experience, that I could see that it really turns the mood at that
Yeah.
moment, into not active or aggressively. We need to get the numbers in. We need to finish But at the same time, trying to manage the sensitivity, the pressure around, and to make sure that the team is not overloaded with a lot of things that
Mhm.
is happening before the end
True.
of the quarter. So just to add to that.
True. Yeah, don't forget about team building, right? So you
Oh yeah,
mentioned something that you can do regarding team building, and
yeah,
oftentimes team building, including team building activities, is often an afterthought. And I want to encourage you to monthly think about ways that you can engage your teams. It doesn't have to be a high investment. And even if
right,
you invest costly, right, make sure that the engagement or the activity is fun and engaging and also something that people can do on themselves. But know that there are inclusive ways of providing team building activities as well. So just an FYI. And you can reach out to both me and Clancy as well regarding that, because too often team building is an afterthought, and I want to make sure that you add that to your menu where you're able to build bridges, because we are talking about building bridges and how psychological safety enhances workplace inclusion, but we have come to the end. What is your wish for 2030 to humanize the workplace but also
oh,
psychological safety and mental well-being? What would you like to
oh,
see?
I love this word wish. I have a long list of wish list that I've put down together. But just to
Mhm.
summarize, my hope for 2030 or 20, my wish for the future is to humanize workplace, become the norm. you know
Yeah.
um Not the expectation.
Yeah.
I envision a future where every workplace prioritize psychological safety,
Mhm.
and of course inclusivity and
Yeah.
mental well-being. This is
Yeah.
very, very, very key aspect, right? And of course creating an environment where people feel empowered, engaged, and
Mhm.
supported,
Yeah. Mhm.
to be authentic selves, right?
Yeah.
And of course, love to see mental health treated with the same seriousness as a physical health. This is something
Mm.
more or
Yeah.
less something that we always overlook at it, because it's
Mhm.
yeah, the physical health. But we have to really treat with the same seriousness, mental health or physical health. This too has to be treated or have to be seen with the same lenses, right? So yeah,
Mhm.
these are my wishes, and of course physical health, for leaders across industries to recognize that caring for their people isn't just the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It's what drives the sustainable success, right? And
Yeah.
ultimately for me, I would say I hope we could build a workplace that help individual thrive, not just as employees, but as
Yeah.
a whole human being. They should be seen as a number, but they should be seen as a human being. And this is very, very, very important takeaway, or I would say wish for the coming years ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree, and also I understand that leaders are working on a lot of pressure, right? So I want to also say something encouraging for the leaders, that leaders, there is a support system for you. Reach out to me or reach out to Clancy to support you with this as well, because you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to
Right,
know everything on
right,
do everything on your own, but also lean on your team members as well.
exactly,
And when you
exactly.
show up as an empathetic leader, you can accomplish so much more and also gain and regain and retain your talent within your team so that you are able to succeed within your team. So I want to say thank you to Clancy for this conversation about building bridges and how psychological safety enhances workplace inclusion. And hopefully, until next time.
Thank you so much, Vivian, for having me here. I love the conversation. I wish to continue, but I definitely will the crossroads very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You
Bye.
too. Cheers. Bye.